Hi, I'm Chrissy from firstdayofhome.com. Today I'm sharing a tutorial on how to make giant wooden pumpkins for yard decorations. This is one of my favorite fall projects and it's easy enough for beginner woodworkers. I only used a jigsaw and a scroll saw to get this project done. Let me show you what you need to get started. These pumpkins range in size from about 30 inches tall to 43 inches tall. So you'll want to pick up about 2 sheets of plywood that each measure about 4 by 8 feet. As I mentioned, I used a jigsaw and a scroll saw for this project. I used the scroll saw on the smaller pieces like the stems and the leaves, but you can use the jigsaw for that as well if you don't have a scroll saw. Each of these pumpkins comes with a pattern which you can click below to download, and you want to print out the pattern on 8.5 by 11 inch computer paper and then tape your pattern onto your plywood to trace the outline. Of course, you always have the option of freehanding this if you'd like to instead. You'll notice I have a centerpiece in front that looks like an egg shape. This gives more of a 3D effect. So with the same outline that you'll print out, you'll want to overlap the 2 ovals to create that centerpiece that I call the egg shape. I started by using a jigsaw to cut the outlines of each pumpkin as well as the center egg shape. Here's a quick look at what the final pieces of plywood looked like before I started painting. I used a scroll saw to cut out the smaller stems and leaves for the pumpkins. If you don't have a scroll saw, a jigsaw works well too. For these patterns, I just drew freehand directly onto the plywood. You'll want to sand each piece that you cut out with 180 to 200 grit sandpaper in the direction of the grain. You can also take this opportunity to fill in any holes or imperfections in the wood with wood filler before you start priming. I applied 1 coat of this bullseye multi-purpose primer before I started painting my pumpkins. If you plan on using these pumpkins outdoors, make sure that you choose an exterior paint and apply at least 2 coats. I found using a roller brush worked best. Also, don't forget to apply coats on the front egg-shaped piece, which you'll only have to do the front of really, and also the sides of each of the cutouts. On the outer pumpkin shape, I made sure to use the same color orange that I used on the front, but for the smaller egg-shaped piece in front, I decided to use a brown exterior paint just to give it a little more contrast and more of a 3D effect. To me, the orange paint looked a little flat, so I decided to add a few curved strokes of a yellow paint mixed with the orange to add a little more depth and texture to the pumpkins. I started with the center egg-shaped pieces, and then I did the same thing on the bigger pumpkin outline pieces. You can see how this starts to add a little more depth and interest to the pumpkins. As you work your way toward the center of the pumpkin, you'll want your strokes to become just a little more vertical and not so curved. I really love the way this turned out because from a distance, it makes the pumpkins look a little more velvety, almost like those velvet pumpkins that you see all over the place for fall. I always love finding ways for the whole family to get involved in my projects, so the leaves were the perfect size for my 2 boys to help with the painting. My husband also helped with some of the drilling, attaching the stems and leaves to the pumpkin bases. You also have the option of using wood glue to assemble your pumpkins. To make sure your pumpkins stay secure in the ground, you'll want to use plumbing brackets and stakes. We had stakes left over from some Christmas cutouts that we own, and so we're going to reuse these stakes for fall, and all we had to do was attach the plumbing brackets. Since you'll be drilling through the back of the pumpkin and the front egg shape, you do want to make sure that your screws and your drill won't punch a hole through the front. So I always like to line it up before I begin any drilling. The same screws that attach the plumbing bracket to the back of the pumpkin will be used to secure the front egg-shaped piece to the back of the pumpkin. All that's left to do is clean up the workshop with the help of your cleanup crew and display your yard pumpkins. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed decorating your yard for the fall this year, and leave a comment below and let me know how this project turned out for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more easy crafts, DIY projects, and recipes. In the meantime, I'm leaving some videos here and here that I think you might enjoy. See you next time.